Hello. Hello and welcome. This is
Hello.
Making Comics on Art, episode 183. I'm Peter.
I'm Allison. And this is
Ryan.
This is Ryan. I'm Allison. And this is hold on.
Ryan.
Yep, you got it muted now.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I don't know if there's anybody watching.
Hey,
right now.
Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, you got your book up on Indiegogo.
That is right.
And Allison just dropped the link into the chat for people to go
Yeah.
click on it, check it out.
Yes.
Yep, I'll probably drop it again at some point too. So just to make sure it's not forgotten. Let's see if I can pin it at some point too. Sorry, a little cold.
So, Bric-a-Brac.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, tell us all about it.
For sure.
No.
Yeah, the Christmas season's passed, obviously, but the book is kind of going on. Like, we've launched in December, and it's going on until basically the end of January. It's really a story about the mix between Star Wars and, if you know, are familiar with the Rankin Bass Christmas specials, the puppet specials, with, you know, whether it's Rudolph or Santa Claus is coming to town,
Frosty.
or these certain specials. And then even the animated, Frosty is animated, but it's definitely in that universe, absolutely. And so it's really taking those established characters and changing them, and then adding some other familiar Christmas things, and then putting it into a galactic setting. That's really what it is. It's basically just us following during this war on this planet Christmas that this story is set on. A young boy is kind of forced because his friends are kidnapped, and the world is really in peril, if you will. Like, there's a lot of people who are in peril because the Nutcrackers are taking over for nefarious purposes. He's trying to find Father Christmas and hopefully find a way to defend the defenseless, these Christmas characters that really don't know how to fight and are really in danger. So that's really what the story is about. It's a great adventure where you get to meet so many different cool characters, familiar and unfamiliar, but it's all in the kind of Christmas American canon that you are familiar with, but it's definitely changed a bit, maybe taken up to the extreme, if you will. It's kind of made to be the ultimate Christmas story. Like, if there could never, ever be another Christmas special, this would be the one that would probably be enough for everyone to be satisfied with. So I don't know. It's just a fun project that I've been working on for a long time, and I really am enthusiastic about it, and I love it. And I love Star Wars, obviously, for sure. But yeah, it's like that whole mash together.
Excellent. No, that sounds really
Right.
fun. Do you have any art or anything like that you can show us?
Yeah, for sure. On the campaign page, do you want me to share my screen or?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haven't done this for a while. Let's see. Okay, so I can just hit share. Okay, share screen.
Let's run through the whole Indiegogo and everything, which it's in the chat if anybody's looking for it.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Am I sharing it yet or no? I don't. I think I have to follow some steps. It says I need to follow steps to share screen. Sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's that evil.
No worries.
So, Pete, what you working on while we're waiting here?
Cover I was working on yesterday, so just continuing that. I'll probably finish it tomorrow when
The
I
thing
get
was
this out. So I can
crazy
jump-
detailed.
Yeah. packages out, and I was cleaning out my closet and the Apollo a little bit. So everything but work.
Sounds good.
What are you working on today?
Character designs for my webcomic idea. So
Okay, I think I'm sharing now.
Yep, you are.
Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Great.
Click on.
Yeah, so this is the campaign page, and it looks a little different on my end because it's a creator page. But as you can see, yeah, we kind of have our main cover here. But yeah, I'll show you some art. So, this is my arts. I'm not the artist. I'm the writer, creator, and I guess you could say producer because I'm basically doing all the promotion, if you will, for the campaign. But yeah, so our artist is Raphael Sam, the interior artist. And he, has a really childlike aesthetic. I think that like the story would not be the way it is without him. It's essential to have someone, I think, who can capture the great action elements, but yet also capture like and great emotion, but yet it also still feels like it's a kid's story. I don't know. There's a weird there's a balance that he seems to master that is really, really fun. So these are some examples of pages at the beginning of the book, and then and also here's some outer space stuff that we get into because again, it is kind of an intergalactic story. So we have some enemies from outside of the planet that are coming in and mucking things up. Here's another page where we've got some action. So we have like Good King Wenceslas, who is a anti-hero who's kind of trying to capture our main character Garrett here, who's kind of running from him. And then we have the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future here, who are also aiding our main hero in certain ways because they have the knowledge of all things. So they're a useful asset to him. And yeah, they can also, they're kind of different too in this world because they can transform into things that help the main character. And in this issue and in the second issue or in the fourth issue, they're really kind of like companions that, again, like I said, they transform into different things. And it's a different take on the Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Future I don't think I've ever seen. And so,
anything like that.
Yeah. And then Good King Wenceslas, of course, is like that old Welsh carol, but it's never really gone past that. So we're taking that carol and kind of applying it to this character and his lore and his whole mission. And there's some elements of that's completely my creation and some that are kind of from the carol. So again, it's like taking a lot of different Christmas elements and adding them to this story. Here's our main cover. It's like kind of like the Rogues Gallery cover. So we have some of the characters that you'll see. Our main, like the Gollum character in the back is Jack Frost. And if you read the first or in the second issue, you would get to kind of know his story and how he came to be and what his role in this is. And, our main character, Garrett, is in the foreground. And his comrade, Marie, who's kind of helped him through this whole battle, is also with him there. So this cover is the more aggressive one. I mean, there's issue 1 and issue 2 had kind of like not as intense covers. Obviously, this one has fire, so it indicates and implies that this is really the intensity is racking up very highly. And I mean, it's true because like the story, there's about a 10 to 12 page battle in this issue. And it's kind of like, I think the most intense fighting, I think in the entire story, or it's the most, there's the most factions going at each other. We have like the Nutcrackers, Father Christmas and his elves, and the knights, and there's knights involved. And then there's, a Christmas militia that's banded together to stop the Nutcrackers. And there's all these different people battling each other. And it's just really interesting and fun. And so that kind of it's the more darker tone of this. And we have a cover for Good King Wenceslas, who is kind of like I said, an anti-hero this is his first issue. We've mentioned him before, but really this is the first issue where we get to know who he is and see what he's about and, and what his whole goal is in the story. Because again, there's so many different characters on Planet Christmas that have roles, and they just, there's different sections of it, and there's different people who rule the different sections, and he just happens to be the one that rules a certain area, and he has a bone to pick, and so we'll get to know more about him.
Hmm.
And some more pages. Again, this is Raphael. Some action stuff, and then here's one. This is actually from issue 1. This page, it just kind of a happy Christmasville setting. That's where it's from. This is kind of like, this is at the very beginning of the book where the war hasn't completely gripped over the world yet. There's still part of it that's happy, and there's still Christmas spirit alive. Obviously, as time goes on, that's less and less popular. I guess it's less possible because there's the network's reach is so intense that it's becoming more difficult to celebrate and be happy. And yeah, that's kind of the art that I have to show. I guess there's just some these are just some few things about us as the artists, the people who are collaborating. If you know Eric Hodson on Indie Vault, he's our letterer, and he's a really great guy. And yeah, I met him through Indie Vault and being on that show. And there's some fan art. A lot of people, I think the characters, and this is really due to the fact my artist Raphael is just incredible at like making, I feel like, iconic characters or just unique looking characters. A lot of people drew fan art, and it's just really fun to see, what people's different takes on things. And that's one of the funnest things to me is just seeing fan art and seeing what like people take the art and make it their own. And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of the art that I have to show for the campaign. But I can look at the perks too here. I know on the
that was my next thing to ask you, if you could go over your perks and everything. I do have some questions about the book, so
for sure. Yeah, I'll just chat a little bit about those.
Yep.
Yeah, so
definitely go through these.
So yeah, we have the physical bundle, which is where it's a catch-up tier, really what I like to call a catch-up tier, where you can get everything physical and digital. And there's also that cool Good King Wenceslas print that I showed you is going to be available. Like, it's with every physical book bought, you get that print. So yeah, so that's fun. Really good value, I think. And then, you have your digital on PDF. You have the physical if you've already, like, of course, there's a lot of people who have stuck with me on this series from the beginning. We first launched the first issue in 2019. So, I mean, it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad to have those recurring backers, because that's the lifeblood. Like, that is the most important. As you guys know, just how the fans you keep are really how you get funded, and how you, the email lists and the people who are recurring backers. Those are the people who I love and appreciate. And it's just great to have them, because they're amazing assets, and they always root for you, and it's awesome. And then, double bric-a-brac, we also have a bundle of digital. We have some t-shirts that are available. We also have a donating tier. So to keep in the spirit, basically there's 3, I will donate 3 books of each issue to a whether it's the Boys and Girls Club, or maybe a church that you want these books donated to, or maybe it's some kind of organization that, helps kids that you want me to donate it to. I will do my best to do that, because I know that sometimes there's restrictions with that, but I'd like to include this tier, and we usually figure something out, to send. And then finally, we have what happened? Oh, I think the tier, it fixed itself. 1 second. Then we have a creative Christmas character, where this is a fun one. And like I said, there's so many battles in this where there's a Christmas militia. So it's going to be nice to have people's created characters in the book, because it also helps, like, just have a really fun Christmas looking character in the book. I mean, I like giving people this opportunity because it allows them to participate, I think. And I really hope that I think that it's important to have people giving them the opportunity to, make their own character. Maybe it's in the background, but still, I had one person make a character that they, put in all these different books before, that had the same tier, kind of similar tier. And it's kind of cool to, like, have a character that's been in other books that were crowdfunded too. So I just like that tier. I think it's a good one, because we need unique looking characters, because it's a fantasy book and we invite all that fun. So
yeah, that sounds really fun. I like that. That's cool. I definitely support that idea. I might steal that for myself.
Yeah,
Right then. So I got a couple of questions.
for sure. I can stop sharing the screen here if you want me.
No, you can keep sharing. It's fine.
Okay, got
Worry about
it.
So leave it up. It's your art. It's your project. You're the guest. Okay. So the lead character.
Uh-huh.
What was his name? Garrett? Did you say?
Yes, that's right.
Garrett. Okay. Is he an elf?
He's kind of just a human. He comes from a place called Sugar Plum Cove, which is kind of like the Lost Boys sort of like vibes. They don't really have parents in this universe. They just kind of are mothered by, well, we could go into that in future issues and future arcs, like who his parents are, and I do want to do that. But
Okay.
at the moment, at the beginning of the story, we just see him living there. And mothered by Sugar Plum Fairy, so they're basically his guardians. And he's almost 10 years old, or not, almost 10 years old now. So once you become 10 years old, you can leave the island and go out and do your own thing and go adventure into the world. That's the rules, the fairies' rules. And so, yeah, unfortunately, though, right when he's about to do that, the Nutcrackers attack this island and steal, and take his friends away, kidnap his friends, because they have, all the kids on Planet Christmas. They still have retained that Christmas spirit that a lot of people haven't, and so they're an asset to the Nutcrackers because they can find Father Christmas, and also that's how Garrett can find Father Christmas. He still has Christmas spirit in him, whereas a lot of the adults have become kind of, obviously if they have to fight, completely devoid of Christmas spirit because their focus is in something else, and it's just there's less of it, and so. Yeah, that's kind of where we start, and that's who he is. He's just trying to find Father Christmas because there are stories of Father Christmas being this great warrior, and there's also stories of him having this immense magic, so he believes that he can stop this whole thing, but yet he's kind of off the grid for certain reasons, and so that's kind of his whole journey is to find him.
Excellent. And follow-up question for Garrett: does he secretly want to be a dentist?
No. I think what he wants to be is just, have a really great planet. I think one thing about him is that he is kind of like us. Like he, when you become 10 years old, like there's certain things about Christmas that you start to realize aren't the same as what they were before, like Santa Claus being one of them. Certain things get revealed to you that like kind of upset you. I mean, Christmas is not as perfect maybe as it used to be when you're a teenager or when you were a little kid. When you're a teenager, things get more complicated as you get older. It's harder to have that, nostalgic Christmas that you want.
You lose the magic in some ways.
Exactly. And so he's just kind of after that magic again. And obviously it seems like it can never, ever happen now that there's this massive war that just destroyed his planet. How could Christmas ever be the same? So it's like he really has to figure out how he's going to make it happen again, how he can save the planet. He believes he can. He will, because I think he just has that good spirit in him that Christmas is a magical time. I do believe that myself. I think it's a transformative time. I know it can be hard for a lot of people, but if only he can stop this attack and make it better, make things better. I think that's, it's just a really interesting story, I think, myself, because as a kid, I struggled with, all that believing in Santa obviously is a tough one. And, what is the meaning of Christmas after you become 10 years old? Like, I feel like it should become even more meaningful, because it's, you get to be around people you love and you give gifts. And so he's just trying to find meaning, just like a lot of us do, when we get to be that age. So I know that's probably long-winded, but
no, it's fine. That makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
hey, you took my dumb joke and you turned it into a bit of a character talking point. So
yeah.
I'm fine with that. Hey, Brianna. I think we're all doing good.
Welcome, Brianna.
Talking about the war on Christmas. I had to make that joke at some point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so is Santa Claus really Odin in disguise?
I mean, he is very powerful. I think that I took a lot. I mean, here's the thing, like Planet Christmas used to be a world that was really peaceful and Father Christmas would take care of all the threats in that world. So there's you see him taking on that monster. That's a flashback to when maybe the only threat on the planet would be these monsters that would occasionally come or spring out of whatever. But there's no evil people on Planet Christmas until something happens and things get really shook up, and then the Nutcrackers are given the ability to take over, which is secretly something they've always wanted to do but kind of hid it.
Those evil Nutcracker.
I know. So yes, Father Christmas is very powerful, but at the moment, because there's a lack of Christmas spirit, he's depleted. So it's kind of like taking that idea from what's the movie? The Year Without a Santa Claus, where Santa Claus gets really sick when no one has Christmas spirit.
Mhm.
And Mrs. Claus is like trying to find people who have it so we can, witness it and get Christmas spirit again. That's kind of the same thing Garrett's trying to do, is trying to get him to have that spirit again, that will allow him to be the guy he used to be, be someone who can take on these outside intergalactic threats, so.
Oh, yeah, well, Brianna likes it. Like, the story sounds like a ride and a half. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it's
it is an
I think
adventure.
it's pretty good.
It's an adventure.
Well, that's for sure. Adventure. Now, do we have any furry grandfather characters named Lumpy?
Lumpy? No, there aren't any Lumpies. What is that from?
Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh my goodness.
You're a Star Wars fan. I see.
I was like, whoa, wait. Isn't the Star Wars Holiday Special canon now? I think they've made, or there was a Lego version of it is it canon? I don't know. Life Day is canon.
Life Day is kind of canon-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And the Boba Fett cartoon is kind of in the middle. I don't think it's technically canon, but it's recognized.
Yeah.
On Disney Plus. But the holiday special on its own, I mean, they renamed who Chewbacca's father was in Revenge of the Sith. It was given that it was Tarfor.
Tartuff or something?
Tarfor.
Oh, Tarfor. Okay.
And that was, and like I forget if his father was Lumpy or if his grandfather. I think the grandfather was Lumpy, but yeah.
That is an itchy. Isn't there like an itchy and scratchy, or I don't know? It's like,
yeah,
really? You have this elaborate Chewbacca name, and then there's all his siblings are like stupid.
His
little
family
men.
is definitely not so.
But I heard in the Book of Boba Fett, the second episode, there's a Wookiee.
Yes, there is.
assassin.
There is
yeah.
a very big Wookiee.
Which is
I think
cool.
it's one of the comics too. Not positive.
Yeah, I
on
heard
that.
about that actually. I heard it was from one of the, which is cool. I like that because also the one character who's his confidant is from Bad Batch, right? His friend.
Yeah, she was she was in the Mandalorian season
really?
2, season 1 and season 2.
Oh, that's right.
And then they introduced her in the Bad Batch. So
yeah, that's so cool. I love it.
I like her character a lot, but it's Ming Na Wen, so I can't go wrong. I mean, she's just awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm a fan. And yeah, I like your book a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like the art. The story sounds really fun. Yeah. You must really love Christmas too. I mean, you're doing a comic book.
Yeah. It's something that I really enjoy. Like I could be in it forever. I mean, like I just think that I don't know. I feel like we're at this point with Christmas and culture where it could absolutely have its own planet. There's so many different. Well, I guess my goal with this story is to kind of like make it look like what would Christmas be like as a planet? So what's a desert Christmas look like? What's an underwater Christmas look like? So there's different settlements like that in this story. So, just trying to make it kind of like a more, just world build. I feel like a lot of Christmas stories don't world build enough. Like we just have the North Pole and that's it in a lot of Christmas stories. And I think most, if not all. So it's like, I just really think that it would be so cool to have an entire world that is just all Christmas all the time. There's not like a day of Christmas. It's just Christmas every day. And just a fully fleshed out world. So that's the attempt here. And I think people, have gravitated towards it and like it. So I'm really thankful for that. And yeah, it's fun.
Oh yeah, no, I'm all for it. I think that sounds
So
great. It has a bit of a Nightmare Before Christmas vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Is this your first book?
This is my third book.
Third.
This is,
Well, not the third. Like
oh,
Bric-a-Brac. Is Bric-a-Brac your
Well-
first creation?
not really. Well, basically, I have an anthology series that I do as well. That's kind of like a 3 to 5 page thing. I find artists on ArtStation and basically collaborate with them on. And at this point, I have about 40 stories collected on the website. And in the next volume that's going to be releasing this year, it's called The Unspeakable Text, and it's kind of like a Twilight Zone / it's really a Twilight Zone kind of inspired thing where you're just trying to take 3 to 5 page stories, and that's it, really. Just really telling fun, effective, concept-driven stories. And it's something I really get a kick out of because I like weird concepts and weird. Not everyone does. I know that as a fact, but
No, it sounds
it's
fun to
really
read.
fun to do that kind of thing. And it's all in black and white. And it's all, I think the one problem with anthologies is that they're written by a lot of different people and it can kind of get bogged down and the different tones are really jarring. Whereas I think maybe my attempt with this anthology, and we're, again, like I said, we're doing the next volume this year, is to just have it be written by the same person. And hopefully there's like a through line, and it is supposed to be happening in the same universe too. So it's just kind of a fun project, you know? And so that's my other one that I've tried to fund. And I successfully funded. There's been other projects that I've tried to fund. Like last summer, I tried to fund a card game, but I'm going to try it again this year. And there's different things that I've tried to fund. But in terms of comic books, yeah, that has been the two that I've worked on. And yeah, I really enjoy doing it. It's a really fun hobby, writing comic books, and I just think that I think the collaboration is something that I really enjoy. That's one of the funnest things, is giving someone something and then seeing what they do with it is one of the funnest things. And getting that email and seeing that they've created this whole page of sequential art out of your words, it's like almost magical in a way. So I really enjoy it. Yeah.
And it must be challenging as well, like, because like artists do their own thing and have to reinterpret the story.
Right. Yeah. But I'm so lucky to have these artists that want to work with me or whatnot. It's really a blessing. So I'm always happy to do that and meet new people. It's a good way to meet people too, lifelong friends.
Right.
Like I've met some people who I've been friends with for 5 years, 10 years. I mean, I've only really started doing this maybe like 5 years ago, but like, it's just, I've met a lot of people through art and whatnot. So just really fun.
That sounds like Peter and I. We basically met
You
through
would do
mutual
writing comics, or
Sorry, say that again.
sorry.
You broke up a lot.
What got you into writing in the first place?
I would say I really enjoyed. This is gonna sound. I mean, I really like DC a lot, and I. It's weird because I write almost like I don't write superhero books, but I read a lot of superhero books, and I really enjoy like a lot of DC books. So I think when I started getting into comics, the New 52 was coming out, so I was really into this Batman and all these different kinds of books, and it was a really great jumping on point. So I think I just, after reading a lot of those stories, I really kind of just wanted to. And Grant Morrison is another writer who is really someone who's always, I feel like, very inspiring because Grant Morrison is able to tackle completely different stories with ease, it seems like. And so just reading writers like that and, kind of just wanting to tell stories that are fun. And I think that was really the desire. Like I just continue to do it. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like for me, I enjoy kind of losing myself in writing a character, writing a story that you can kind of get really involved with, and kind of figuring out how it's going to end on your own. it's kind of like a journey, like all those 3 to 5 page stories. I never really know how it's going to end, but like the journey of finding where it's going to end is really exciting to me. And the same with this story too, is that it's grown, in 2019, it's definitely not the same story as it was back then. But now it's, I've added all these different layers and the ending has changed. And so it's just kind of like, one of the cool things about writing is when you start, you really have, I don't usually have an idea where I'm going to end. I have a rough idea, but really I don't know all the beats or anything like that. And, not a lot of people work that way, but I just find that journey is fun and it always keeps me coming back. It's kind of like a movie or something that you don't really know the ending to. That's always like fresh and new. So
I think that's
Right.
something like that Ray Bradbury had said about writing. He writes a story to see where where it's going to end.
yeah. Yeah, not a lot of people work that way.
The opposite direction from me. Yes, it's also similar to me. I outline everything first. I do my writing.
Yeah, I used to outline, but I think that sometimes then you kind of at least I did kind of box myself into really coordinating with that outline. And then I don't maybe include other things that I think, like as I'm writing along the way, think could improve the story. So I think that is one of the traps that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a basic outline, but and even then, like when I write a comic, I work off of the classic Marvel way method. So, like, I wanted to end something like this. Okay, now I take the thing and go there. Since I'm a writer artist, I can get away with doing that stuff.
Exactly.
If I'm working with other writers, I like working from a script.
Yeah, I think the one cool thing about scripts is that they're an invitation to collaborate. So it's kind of like a blueprint. It's really not like, it's not like how Hollywood scripts are in any way. It's really only the very beginning. I think the script process is really just the beginning, and then the process really starts from there when you meet the artist. And so yeah, it's an interesting process.
Let's see, when
Yeah.
was it Steven Spielberg when he was going to direct like his first movie? It was either Jaws he was doing it or Duel. He basically sat down and rewrote the script.
Right.
I know Jaws they had to change the majority of the film because the shark didn't work, but yeah. Then we got Brianna here with step 0 of my writing process, deciding what the ending is, and the next steps are exploring how that ending came about. Yeah, I can definitely respect that. I like to know where my stuff's going.
Right.
And then figure out how it gets there. But I've changed stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I tend to very loosely plot. I feel the desire and a need to going forward, like to write more as I and develop the story more.
I wonder if it'd be a cool creative process. Someone who writes end to start and someone who writes start to end work together and aim to meet each other at the midpoint. That could be kind of interesting.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I think DC did something like that with the Commandy challenge. Like which I thought was really cool, is they would they would have an artist and a writer collaborate and take the Commandy to like one point of this story, and then another artist and writer would take it into another part, and then it would be like a crazy ending, and then the next artist and writer would come on and take it into another crazy ending. That was kind of a cool project. It wasn't like the best read ever, but I thought it was a cool idea when they did that. But maybe that's kind of similar.
Yeah,
I like that.
Right. So why did you decide to venture like make your own books as opposed to me, going to a publisher and working for them or something like?
Yeah, I think I like to be able to tell the story that I want to tell. Not that I think that maybe they would limit me. It's possible they would, but I think there's a lot of different themes that I want to go for that maybe maybe wouldn't be accepted, or if we were going to talk about all aspects of Christmas, we also have to talk about the religious aspects and different elements of it that are prevalent in it. I mean, it is called Christmas, so it's kind of like if there's a planet encompassing everything that it is, then obviously there has to be some religious part of it. So, that obviously comes into play in this issue with Good King Wenceslas, and there's certain elements of the story that I think that would not be accepted maybe by other companies, but at the same time, I think that I like having all the control. I like also being able to talk to a community of people, and if it was published, I would never be able to have tiers like create a Christmas character, for example. I think that collaboration is fun. I also think that eventually I do want to get it published because the goal is to be able to have kids read it during the Christmas season, during the holiday season. That is the ultimate goal, because I genuinely want, I mean, that I would love that, because that's, when my mom read Christmas stories to me as a kid, I had that special feeling, and I can only imagine, this awesome Christmas story being read to other people that I think is, like I've mentioned, everything that I've ever loved about Christmas kind of wrapped into one, the ultimate Christmas story in my eyes. I think it would be just so cool for someone to be read that. And I that is my ultimate goal. I'm so proud of it. I don't usually say I'm proud of things, but I really am proud of this book because I can't wait for when it is all, this arc at least is all done, so that people can get it hopefully, and pick it up somewhere and read it again during the Christmas season. So that I do want it published eventually, but the thing is that I think it's hard to get a book acknowledged if it's not finished. Or I did try, like when the first issue came out, I did go, like I think that entire summer I just kept trying to find a book agent, and I would get rejected and whatnot. And I just realized, like, yeah, crowdfunding is very hard, which I'm sure both of you know very, very clearly. Difficult process. It will take. It's going to take. You have to fight with tooth and claw. Like, you really have to work hard to get it out. And I've had this campaign up for 30 days already, and I'm just not even at 50%. It's been very tough, this one. And it's hard. It's going to take a pound of flesh, but it is worth it because there's a lot of cool people you meet, and they're going to fight for you. And so that's kind of the whole process. I mean, I would like to get it published eventually, but as of right now, this is, I think, the best way to do it. So
yeah, that sounds good to me. And to answer Brianna's further question, yes, his mic is a bit cracky. We've been hearing it too. I don't know if he's still having internet issues in the area or something, or just crummy mic, who knows. But hey. And Brianna definitely appreciates your passion. I do too. You're insanely passionate about this project, which I rarely see someone that passionate about like something like this. And you're literally doing a Christmas thing, one of the most marketed holidays of the world, and you're like taking it like, I'm doing the war on Christmas, and here we go. I really just love that idea.
Yeah,
of what you're doing. It's like, okay, there is a war on Christmas, and it's caused by the Nutcrackers.
Right. Exactly.
Bastards.
So when will this arc of the story end and be finished?
Yeah. So it's going to be a 4-issue arc. This one, and it's, like I said, it's a very Star Wars inspired arc where we go intergalactic, and it's the kind of like a journey where one character has to get from this place to this place to this place, and there's kind of a big device like a Death Star kind of at the end. It's called the Solstice Eater, and it has these nefarious purposes that our main enemy, because there's not the Nutcrackers, but they are being controlled by a secret enemy, if you will. It's just like an outsider, someone who's a warlord, a conqueror, who's trying to prove himself, and he's going to use Planet Christmas as this example of how powerful he is. He's going to take it over and just show all his friends how great he is. And the Solstice Eater is also a problem because it eats stars, and it's going to, really, if it successfully eats the sun that's in the galaxy, the vicinity of Planet Christmas, then everyone's screwed and it's over. I mean, everyone's probably going to die. So obviously that's a problem. So So there's that Death Star kind of device. And so, yeah, this one is definitely more inspired by Star Wars. But then the next arc, I think, is going to be when our main character is a little older. It's going to be more like an Indiana Jones kind of thing, where we have maybe developing a lot more of those places on Planet Christmas we haven't seen. Like I was talking about the desert and, the underwater places. There's a lot of different places on Planet Christmas. There's lava planets, or not planets, but lava settlements, like a Hawaii kind of thing, or if we're talking Star Wars, like a Mustafar kind of Christmassy thing. But it's just like the next arc will be kind of more of like a globe-trotting adventure, where maybe he has to find some kind of arc, like an artifact or something like that. But I think with each new arc, we're going to try to go for a little bit of a different tone, because if we're trying to expand the Christmas, this as an actual planet, I would love to have a crime story. I would love to have a, like I said, a treasure hunting story, or all these different kinds of themes that I don't think we've ever really seen during Christmas, in Christmas specials especially. So, so that's kind of where we're going to go with the next few arcs, I think, is just to different tones, different kinds of stories, but still with the main characters. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I like that. That sounds good. Sounds like
Yeah.
you got a lot of good ideas that you're fleshed out here and that you're going to be doing more.
Yeah.
I'm excited. That sounds like a cool book.
Yeah.
So, what's in a typical issue? Like, how many pages is the story? Do you have any background material?
So with the last issue, we did have a backup story, and I would like to have one. The backup story for the last issue was a what do you call it? Like when it's after the campaign reached its goal, a stretch mark, stretch point, or a stretch goal.
Right.
Yes, it was a stretch goal, and so we were able to have a backup story, and I think they really add to the kind of overall thing, the overall arc. And so then with this issue, we don't have one yet, but it will be a stretch goal. So once we hit our goal, hopefully we will have that, and it will be really cool because I know who the artist is going to be. And but if we don't, then hopefully we'll just I'll add it myself with my own money or whatnot. I would love to have one, or if not, we'll do it in issue 4 or whatnot. But then the issues are 25 pages in total, though. I will say that they're 25 pages. Each of them are that size, so they're a little bit longer than a normal average comic book, and they are they're just they usually end with kind of like a cliffhanger, because at least with issues 1, 2, and 3, but issue 4 will have a conclusive ending. But that's kind of how the issues go.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really good. Sounds like you got this planned out, and this isn't your first rodeo, so
No. Yeah.
So we have definite trust that this book's gonna come out if it's funded, since you have, what was it, 2 others? 3
Yes.
others?
2. Yeah.
That's number 3. So yeah. That makes perfect sense. I'm legitimately interested. I think it could be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So if anybody's interested, just hit the links in the chat. Just be scrolling up a little bit. Hey. All right.
Gingerton, welcome.
Ginger.
Hey, Ginge.
Ryan, hey, host. Hey.
He's
You're
a cool
here.
guy.
Paid all our visitors here. What do you have down the line? And anything else that you want to talk about coming up this year?
Like I said, after
future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every Christmas we launch a new one of these. So obviously next December or next November, there will be a new bric-a-brac. But like I said, too, we're going to be launching a Unspeakable Text. So like another anthology. And that will have about 20 stories, completely unique, completely different artists stories also. So that's going to happen in May or something like that. But yeah, first I have to get this book funded and yeah, so that's kind of the goal.
Yeah. Well,
That's
definitely,
interesting.
we put the link to it. It's at the top of the chat. Let's see. Can I do this here?
I can stop sharing.
No, it's fine. You know,
Yeah, sure, it's fine. You're good.
pretty faces otherwise. You know. It typically on this show, like, you know, I show off what I'm working on, but I'm sort of like working on a cover, so I show it off. I don't mind showing you project. That's fine. So what's out there that's got you excited? Like, do you read books, comic books now, or are you more movies, or what's your thing?
Yeah, I mean, I read. I do read comic books from time to time. I actually just got this book that I've always wanted to get, Superman for Tomorrow. I know, like,
the
that's
Jim
like
Lee
super. Yeah, I've never read it, but I love artwork. Like, I feel like artwork, at least in the last couple of years, has really been something I just like. I'll just go on YouTube and look at it for, you know, a long hours, you know, because I love Jim Lee's artwork. And I think right now artwork is something that really inspires me in a lot of ways. Like, for Bric-a-Brac, for example, we looked at a lot of, you know, classic illustrations by, there's a guy named George Hinge, or there's another woman named Sarah Florence Winship, and these are all people who drew versions of like in the 40s and 30s and versions of, you know, The Night Before Christmas, or there's a lot of different imagery that we took from that. Or so it's just, I think, but these days a lot of comic book imagery inspires me. I feel like I find myself, even more so than just reading the books, just looking at them and kind of marveling over them. And I feel like that really puts influence onto what I'm writing or how I'm trying to make something look. You know, a lot of the covers for this story are influenced by Jim Lee. And some of them are Frazetta inspired too, because we have like the Gurkhan Wenceslas, and it's inspired by the Conan the Barbarian Frazetta image of him holding the sword on the Mountain of Skulls. Right. It's literally the exact same thing. And then the cover with the fire and all the characters is another Jim Lee Justice League cover, I think it is. So it's just like a really it's hard to make those characters look cool, like comic booky. So I think having that point of influence is really important, because it makes them look a little bit more actiony in a way, because they are kind of goofy looking on their own. So yeah, I think that artwork has really inspired me a lot lately to do more, you know, in terms of my comic books. Yeah. Which is weird because I don't really draw at all, but I think that I'm really, there's so many incredibly talented illustrators out there. It's almost like hard to believe that it's even possible sometimes, you know, how great people are. So yeah, that's very inspiring to me.
Yeah. As far as producing books, you do have to have a good sense of what good artwork is, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You want to produce good looking books, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've gotten good at by looking at an artist for my anthology, for example. And for some reason, I kind of have a little bit of an eye of like if they're good enough, or if they're if they're practiced enough to be able to illustrate a story or not. I feel like in a lot of ways you can tell, like by looking at several of their sample pages or whatnot, like if they can do it in a way that looks natural or not. I don't know. I mean, there's some, you know, sometimes I'm right with my gut reaction to that. Sometimes I'm not exactly right. But, you know, again, it's just the process of collaborating is so fun that I think I really enjoy it either way. So it's just fun to work with people. And yeah.
That makes sense.
So I know you got a letterer. Do you put the book together yourself, or you got somebody else?
Yeah, I mean,
with you.
Yeah, I mean, Eric is our letter. I don't know if you guys know him, but yeah, he's on Indie Volt, and he basically also does the editing of the book. In a lot of ways, he creates the layout for, like, okay, so here's an example of issue 1. We tried to make it look kind of like a little golden book. If you remember those, you know how they have like the sides that are like this, and then the insides that are kind of
Right.
like the interiors
Nice.
that are like that. And same with the other side, just trying to make it look kind of like that classic feel with the kind of unnecessary decals, but like they're kind of fun. Whether it's just like a little branch of holly or whatnot. But yeah, that's
That's
the idea. Is that, yeah, his input on that has been really great, and he's a really good designer as well. And I think, yeah, he's a really talented guy, and I'm glad that I found him because here's one thing I'll also say about Eric is that a lot of letterers I've had just like they'll have a lot of typos, like in the past, like very blatant typos, but Eric has never had a typo ever. I mean, and obviously he's the editor too, but I'm just saying that he is a really, really thorough letterer, and he kind of it's just fun. And every character has their own specific dialogue. They have their own kind of way of speaking. And I think lettering is so important. It really takes up like half the page in a lot of comic books, or at least a fourth of the page. So you really want to make sure it looks good. And when it's used, the characters are unique and expressive. And so he really understands that. So like when the Nutcrackers speak, they have this certain like jagged lines around their bubbles, or when the elves are speaking, they speak in blue, or when there's when Jack Frost is speaking, he has ice underneath every single word balloon. So it's just like a really interesting way he does things, and I think that he's very talented. And out of every letter I've worked with, he's 100% the best because he puts those details in that make it kind of stand out. So yeah, that's what I'll say about him. He's a great guy.
Excellent. It's because I started working in comics in the 90s, and my generation of artists and creators approach the industry than you younger folk. In the sense that there is more opportunity for just creators to come out of the woodwork and put out their own books, and it was shunned, they're very, very independent creators in comparison when I first started, and putting it around the world as you're able,
Mm-hmm.
if you I'm sure. Well, that's the way things are,
Yeah.
kind of at it,
Yeah, it's a gift. The whole Indiegogo thing is just unbelievably cool to have that. I mean, like I said, it will take a pound of flesh. It's very hard. It's incredibly difficult to get a campaign going. I mean, and to get that email list going, it takes years. But I will say that once you do have that, it really it changes everything. It really makes things get easier. And also if your content is good, that's a massive plus, because then people will realize that the quality of your books is really high, and you have good customer service, and you have all these different things that people are rooting for you. So I mean, it's an unbelievable opportunity that the Indiegogo and Kickstarter have given people. I mean, I know there's problems and people have difficulty with the platforms, but still, I think that it is pretty cool. I mean, they take a small cut, from what you get, from what they take. It's minuscule. So yeah, it's a great deal to me. I think it's an awesome, awesome platform. And I like Indiegogo because you can obviously extend. That's a huge thing because, especially when you're beginning, I think the ability to extend is nice, but it does stop that momentum from building, because I think when you're on Kickstarter and you only have 30 days and there's no ifs, ands, or buts, that does the intensity racks up. But still, I mean, you at the end of the day, you are doing all of your advertisement. I mean, they're really not going to do much for you unless you're trending. You really have to just share as much as possible, and it's tough. It's tough. So yeah, but it is an awesome opportunity. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, like as far as crowdfunding, whether it's Kickstarter, Indiegogo, or there's other ones. It's all strategy, and it's like you take advantage of the platform by putting your book on there, but you still have to do all the work in order to get the word out and whatnot.
Yeah.
What would you say is your greatest strength, and what would you say is your greatest weakness in making books and getting them out there?
My greatest strength, I think, is finding a good team. Yeah, like Ginge said, I think finding a great team is my strength. I think that I do have like a good vibe, like a good idea of how a book should look, I think. And that maybe is because, like I just mentioned, I love comic book art and I love looking at it, and I can see when teams gel together, like Ginge said. But I think my difficulty is like, I think it's really my advertising. Like it's like I said, it's really difficult for me to figure out how to do it. And I think maybe if I had more of a presence on YouTube or maybe on Twitter, if I had more of a presence, that is just the part that I think is the hardest for me. Because I mean, I have a full-time job outside of this, and obviously it gets really hard when you're trying to do all these different things at once. And there's conflicts with getting on shows and whatnot. But it's yeah, I would say that that's the part I need to work on the most, is figuring out a way to make it not such a struggle every time. Like that's the only problem. It's just always like whenever I'm doing. I'll give you an example. Last time for Bric-a-Brac #2, I failed the campaign. I failed a campaign that I launched in May. I failed a campaign that I launched in August. I failed one in October, and I finally succeeded the one for Bric-a-Brac #2 in November when I launched it again. So, I mean, I just have a difficulty with finding the right time, finding the right audience, and cultivating that audience and sticking with them. I update usually often, but it's just, it's hard to find the right time. And with this book too, I've struggled because I think I launched in December, and by that point, everyone has spent their Christmas money, most likely, or at least most of it. So it's kind of hard to start thinking about a book that's not even going to come out at Christmas, so it's difficult to buy something that you're not going to get for a while, and it being a seasonal project, it's kind of hard too. So that was a lesson learned. But at the same time, people are still enthusiastic about the book, and but yeah, I mean, that's my problem, is the advertising part. That's something I must work on, I think, in the future. So.
That sounds like you have a good plan ahead of you, though, on how to tackle everything.
Right.
And said this is your third campaign, so I'm all for it. I want you to get backed and everything. So if anybody can, please give that link a gentle tickle.
Yes,
throw
please.
Some money at our good friend here. So, Ryan needs money.
Yeah.
To make the book happen, of course.
Yeah, make that book happen.
Yes, we need to make it happen.
Yes. And so check out the campaign, check out the book, check out this other book, the anthology, and you're on Twitter. Where else are you on online?
Really, just Twitter. That's the only place that I'm really focusing on. Just trying to share links as much as it seems like that's been the place where I get the most traction, and then just getting on shows as much as possible. I'm trying to go on every single show I can.
I've seen your feed, and you have done a bunch of shows.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, I'm just gonna keep trying to do that, and probably even go back to the ones that I already went to. Hopefully, maybe that might get me some. I don't know. Who knows what they'll have me on? But I feel like I'm running out at this point. But running out of people. But no, it's great. It's I'm on all those different. I'm on Twitter, and I think that's where you would be able to find me. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I want to see
excellent.
how this.
So, Yeah, so I guess we'll wrap it up here.
All right.
Please give the video a like. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow on some topic or another. We have upcoming, don't we?
We have a guest on Friday and we have a guest on Monday. Friday's guest will be Rob Dunas of Sketchcraft, my friend and mentor. And on Monday, we'll be having Ian Chase Nichols of The Tick and his Acts of Helena series, which I'm looking forward to. He's also a good friend of mine. So, yeah, you have that.
What's
coming up.
That's cool.
Oh, yeah, what's your Twitter
Is there a
handle there,
question?
Ryan?
Oh, it's at HAACK_pro, Hawk Pro. That's my last name and then pro. Yeah, it's just
Nice.
it should be. Oh wait, actually, if I stop sharing, it should appear under me. Oh, I guess not. Maybe. Well, anyway, I'll type it in the private chat.
That's fair.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I get that. And we will do. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. What do you say, Pete? Should we call it a day?
We are calling it a day. Thank you, everybody, who chat and chatted with us and hung out and
Yeah,
and
please come
everybody's
back
watching
tomorrow.
this later. Yeah.
We'll be doing some art
We're here
tomorrow,
every day.
most likely. Yeah. And we'll have some
Yeah.
type of a topic. We haven't come up with something yet. We'll make something up. So, but
Excellent.
Yeah, well,
thank you so much,
coming
Ryan, for coming on. and-
Thank you for having me on. Yeah,
All right.
thank you so much.
You're welcome back anytime.
And
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
All
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Yeah.